Oh, supplements. Let's do it. So it is the second week of January, which means most of you have probably started a diet or you're trying to improve your health and fitness in some sort of way. Most of you have probably bought some supplements already or maybe looking into it and are probably overwhelmed at how many's out there, whether certain ones are worth buying. You can go into places like Holland and Barrett and it's just a barrage of pills and powders and you don't know what to buy. So today's episode we're going to go through some of the top ones. Obviously we're not going to go through every single one because we'd be here all day, but we're going to go through some of the main ones that I come across and we're going to talk about whether it's basically going to be useful for you. And the main ones we're going to cover are the ones that kind of will help support fat loss and general health. So yeah, Becky's got a list of the supplements.
I've been sent a list.
You've been sent. We've done some preparation today because my feedback for the podcast yesterday was you need to be more prepared. So my plan is to prepare.
That was from me, by the way.
She said I can't just show up and start talking.
He just drags me down. I've told you before. He'll drag me down here and he'll just be like, right, we're doing a podcast, and then won't tell me what it's about, or just say supplements.
We'll just jump in.
Is wondering why.
But I have actually done some preparation for today's episode.
Or some rambling on his part. So we're going with it.
So hopefully it's going to be better for you lot listening. So, what have we got first on the list?
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D, so big one. Most of you have probably heard of this. If you haven't, where have you been? So vitamin D is the vitamin that we get from sunlight, which is why it's called the sunlight vitamin. Most of you will live in the UK if you're listening to this. If you don't live in the UK, then that means we've gone worldwide with the podcast. So yeah, you live in the UK, which means you get no sunlight pretty much, especially at this time of year. So vitamin D is a very, very good idea for most of you to supplement, unless you get a good amount of sunlight, which even in the summer months, I speak to this about my clients about this all the time, is that even in the summer months, if you've got an office job, you still spend 8 hours, 10 hours a day inside, not absorbing any sunlight. So unless you go on regular holidays where you're getting sunlight or you spend lots of times outdoors, let's say you're, I don't know, a landscape gardener or something, then maybe you won't need to supplement it. But for most of you listening to this, you will do. Just a little disclaimer for all of these kind of things. The best thing to do with any kind of supplement, or if you think you've got any deficiencies and stuff, is go to a doctor and get a blood test and see if you are actually deficient in these things.
I had one, didn't I?
Yeah.
Mine will come back.
But most people in the UK don't get enough vitamin D, so it's a good idea to supplement it. So supplementation wise, I would recommend anywhere from kind of 2,500 IU up to 4,000 IU. And that's just kind of the measurement that vitamin D is measured in. So yeah, if you don't get any sunlight and you're indoors all day, vitamin D is a good idea. I'm going to make it nice and short and snappy. I could go on about all these, but I'm not going to bore you. And I would say everybody listening to this.
What I was going to say is, how do you know if you get the right amount or not? It's like an app, isn't it?
Yeah, there's ways of measuring it. So again, you can kind of look at your own lifestyle, but there's a vitamin D app called the D Minder app where you can look at, you basically put in how much time you've been outside today, and then it'll go from how much vitamin D absorption is based on the weather that day, and they'll tell you how much vitamin D you've got from sunlight. You can get vitamin D from food, but it's very, very small amounts.
Like Cocoa Pops, they put vitamin D in.
I think, yeah, most things. But for the amount you would have to eat of the foods to get an optimal amount of vitamin D would be very difficult to do unless you're eating like mountains of food. So
you've got to move to a hot country instead. Yeah,
you can do some more research into this as well. And like I said, if you're really unsure or maybe experiencing some kind of symptoms of, low energy, fatigue, it might not necessarily be vitamin D deficiency, but it could be a deficiency of some kind. So if you're experiencing kind of those symptoms, then it's a good idea to just go get a test and see if you're deficient in anything. I think that's enough on vitamin D.
Oh yeah.
Because we both take vitamin D, don't we? So is there
Yeah.
anything
No.
you want to say about it?
No. What I was going to say is that your recommendation is very different to a doctor's recommendation, isn't it? And maybe you should tell them why, because they're going to listen to what you're saying. And if they've been a doctor's and the doctor said,
It's quite high.
500 IU, they're going to say, well, why should I believe you?
Yeah, so the recommendation I'm giving you on all of these supplements is based on kind of being at an optimal level. So if you are deficient and you go to the doctor's job is to make you not deficient, so get you to the baseline level. Let's say it is vitamin D, get you to a baseline level so you're not deficient in that vitamin anymore. The levels I'm talking about is based on kind of the research of what is an optimal level for people, and where they kind of get the most benefits from that as well, without having too much. That make sense?
But doctors recommend a lot less, don't they? Do
Yeah, because again, doctors are general practitioners. They're not specialists in the area. They're not nutritionists or dietitians or whatever. So they just kind of get most people to a level, whereas healthy baseline level,
like survival.
Survival versus kind of optimal kind of performance or optimal health. Kind of think of it like that.
Yes, so don't be panicked. He's not trying to kill you off.
Yeah.
Survive or thrive.
So yeah, again, you can go away and do more research on this as well.
Next one. Before he starts rambling. Omega-3.
Yeah, omega-3. So
I don't like fish, do I?
let's just kind of do some summaries of each one. So like vitamin D, do you need to take it? Yes, if you live in the UK, I would say. Is it affordable? Absolutely, you can get it from like, I don't know, Home Bargains, B&M, all the supermarkets nowadays. It's very cheap and affordable. So yeah, those two questions we'll kind of cover at the end of everyone.
Okay, omega-3.
Omega-3. So omega-3 is again, you've probably heard of it before, it's the oils that you get from, mainly if you eat oily fish.
Not for me.
So omega-3 is helpful for like your joints, mainly is what probably people have heard, blood pressure and things like that, heart health. So yeah, omega-3 basically you get from eating oily fish, which is like salmon, mackerel, other oily fish. Other than them two. What's another oily fish? We don't eat a lot of fish, do we really?
I don't like it.
So if you basically, the rule with omega-3 is if you don't eat at least 2 to 3 portions of oily fish per week, then you should supplement omega-3 to make sure you're getting that amount in your diet. So most supplements are based on the fact that you will only use a supplement to get that vitamin if you don't get it from your diet, which in some cases, like if you're eating 2 to 3 portions of oily fish a week, then you don't need to supplement omega-3.
That's a lot of fish, isn't it?
Yeah, but some people, like I eat a lot of like tuna and stuff, but again, that's not oily fish, so it has to be oily fish, which contains omega-3. So, is it worth do you need to take it? Yes, if you don't have any oily fish or 2 to 3 portions a week. Is it affordable? Yes, again, it's more than affordable. So, in terms of the amounts to take, 1,000 milligrams is like 1 capsule. One of those per day will be plenty for most of you.
We get ours from Home Bargains.
Again, Home Bargains, supermarkets, those kind of things.
Like
So something to think about if you don't have oily fish in your diet.
Next one. Pre-workout or the cat scratching. Pre-workout.
So pre-workout, again, it is what it says on the tin. It's something you take before a workout, and basically the main ingredient of all pre-workouts is high caffeine. The cat's coming to say hello. I bet you can hear that in the mic.
Yeah.
They're meowing.
Saying hello.
So yeah, pre-workout is basically contains lots of caffeine. You take it before a workout, gives you lots of energy, helps you improve the quality of your session, so you get more out of your sessions.
So what's the difference between taking pre-workout and having a Monster or an energy drink?
So some pre-workouts have got something called beta-alanine in as well, which if you've ever had that is just like, it's an amino acid, but it basically can kind of give you like a tingly feeling when you take it. So I've had this before, I don't particularly like the feeling, but some people do. So if you are having it before a workout, it gives you a tingly feeling, so it makes you it kind of makes you a bit like frustrated really, so you're a bit more like agitated, so you get more out of your sessions. It's not an illegal drug or anything, it's just it just gives you like a tingly sensation on your skin, so you're a little bit like I don't know, not pent up. I don't know if that's the right word, but like.
You're not selling it to me?
No, I don't have it personally. I wouldn't kind of recommend it to most people either. But yeah, pre-workout, the main ingredient is caffeine, which again gives you more energy for your sessions and get higher quality sessions in. So essentially better results. Do you need to have pre-workouts? It depends on you know where your energy's at and stuff. I wouldn't start taking pre-workouts all the time and become reliant on them. You can build a tolerance up to caffeine as well, which means
ironic.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a caffeine addict myself personally. That's probably my one vice, is I have too much caffeine, but most personal trainers will probably say the same. So yeah, should you have it on days where perhaps if you're tired, or I know that's going to be most days for most of you, but maybe you've had to get up early, or you've just had a long day and then you've got a training session at the end of that day, might be a good idea. But I would just be very selective of when you're having it and not become reliant on having it all the time, because the thing is with having caffeine or pre-workouts, those kind of things, they can become very addictive, and then you're reliant on having that to get your session in. So maybe just using it on the
Should you just not try and sleep better?
Yeah, so again, the other side of this is like most people are taking pre-workouts and caffeine and all these kind of things to mask the fact that they're not eating properly, they're not sleeping properly, and because of that, they've not got enough energy. So then they're using things like caffeine to kind of mask that problem, and that can create more problems, because the thing is with having caffeine is if you're having too much caffeine, I've got an arse in my face, nice. If you're having too much caffeine and it's regular and late in the evenings as well, that can have a negative effect, because it's then affecting your sleep. You're not sleeping properly, so you're more tired the next day, so then you'll have more caffeine again, whether it be... But basically caffeine, as you know, you'll get from coffee and teas and those kind of things, so you don't necessarily need to fork out on buying pre-workouts, whether it's powders or tablets or whatever. You can still use caffeine to help give you energy for your workouts and stuff by having things like coffees, maybe sugar-free energy drinks as well. I'm not recommending those. I'm just saying that these are where you can get caffeine from that's much cheaper than buying an expensive tub of pre-workout, which is essentially the same thing. A lot of it's just marketing and branding. So do you need it? Yes, maybe occasionally on the days that you're tired and stuff.
I was just thinking, I went out for tea with the girls last night, and they've all got young babies, and they all say that they're up at 2-3 hours in the night. So maybe if that's the case, pre-workout.
So yeah, maybe in like exceptional circumstances, or like if you've got like long shifts one day because you do a certain job, maybe some pre-workout just to give you that pick me up for your session. But then we shouldn't kind of be reliant on using it all the time, because if you again eating properly, sleeping properly, and getting a good amount of sleep, you should be have enough energy to go to the gym, etc. Which I'm sure most of you are focusing on now. So yeah, just kind of caveat really is to say that all these supplements aren't the answer to fat loss, which I said in the last episode, that if you're doing all the basic stuff right, which is getting enough sleep, making sure you're hydrated, making sure you're eating plenty of fruit and veg, and you're controlling the amount of calories are coming in if your goal is fat loss, and you're exercising as regularly as you can, then we add supplements into the process for that extra 5-10% of, will help the process. Not what most people do is, in January, I'm going to go in Holland and Barnett look online for some supplements and forget about all the basic stuff. It's not going to make any difference for you just buying some vitamins and adding that to your already shit lifestyle where you get no sleep, you're not eating properly or very well, you're not really training, and you've got a really kind of bad routine or lifestyle. So a supplement is going to supplement that lifestyle. So you need to get... None of these are really important unless you're getting the basics right first, and then you can look at these. So, yeah.
Okay.
Just a caveat.
She wants a fuss. Fat burners.
So fat burners come very similar category as pre-workout. So fat burners, again, the main ingredient of fat burners is high amounts of caffeine. So if you've ever had these before or you looked into them, they don't actually burn fat for you. There's a high amount of caffeine, which you have more energy, which essentially because of that you move more, whether it's just like
Fidgeting
all the time, moving around all the time, maybe getting slightly better sessions in your gym because you're just like off your tits on caffeine all the time. So as a result of that, if your diet is in the right place and you're controlling your calories, then you can lose fat as a result of being more active and just generally moving more in and outside the gym. Same as before, but don't get roped into. Do you need fat burners? I would say absolutely not, because they're massively high priced. They're a rip off, because of the fact they are called fat burners, which people look at them and think, oh, if I buy these, they're going to burn all my fat away. So they can just put whatever price on them, and essentially the main ingredient is caffeine. They might help the process, but only if you are in a calorie deficit, and again, doing all the things we just spoke about. But you can have cheaper alternatives like pre-workouts or other things containing caffeine, coffee. How cheap is a coffee? Some of those fat burners go for like 30 quid for a tub, and it's just tablets with caffeine in. So like a very, very strong Pro Plus, basically. And they're very expensive. So do you need them? No. Will they burn fat for you? No. You can just get caffeine from cheaper alternatives. So I'm going to say no, don't have them.
On that vein then, we'll just do caffeine next. You just put caffeine as a general.
So yeah, they're kind of the main caffeine ones. So again, when we're talking about fat loss...
You like caffeine though, don't
Caffeine is a great supplement and it will help with energy and those kind of things, but you have to err on the side of caution when having it, because if you're having too much too regular, like I just said, it can have a negative effect on your sleep and those things, and actually take you down the other way and actually make you more tired.
I would say your sleep isn't great though.
Probably not, no.
You have a really
That's
bad
one of the
sleep
things
pattern.
I need to...
But then is it because you take caffeine so much?
No, I think my thing is mainly probably not going to bed at a regular time.
I'm like clockwork on.
I could go sleep at a certain time, but I don't. I probably choose to, because I finish work late, I choose to stay up a bit later. And then sometimes I'll get up a bit later.
And then you have to have more caffeine, so it's more feeling tired.
Yeah, but yeah, I suppose it could play into that. But I mean, I like having caffeine around my sessions anyway.
I don't have caffeine really.
No, you're pretty good. You probably have caffeine just at the weekends, don't you? So yeah, caffeine isn't an essential thing, and you shouldn't. If you've got enough energy without having it, then don't have it. But just a few rules around it. So if you're someone who even just works in an office and drinks coffees and teas regularly, like I've had clients before that have like 6-7 coffees a day, what they don't realise is every time they have a coffee, they're having caffeine, and they get that used to having those drinks that the caffeine has basically zero effect in terms of like doesn't actually pick them up or make them feel like they've got more energy or anything. So maybe thinking about like if you're having caffeine, being selective of when you're having it at the right times of day to make sure you're getting the benefits from it. And then the other thing is make sure it's not ruining your sleep as well. So some rules I set for myself and clients as well is if you're having caffeine, have a rule of not to have any after 4 or 5 p.m. because it stays in your system for kind of 7-8-ish hours.
That's quite late though, 5 p.m, isn't it?
Yeah, so maybe 4 p.m. is like my cut off most
like
of the time.
That's like 1 a.m, 8 hours later. That's a lot you don't sleep.
What?
8 hours after 5 p.m.
Yeah.
It's like 1 in the morning.
Is it?
Yeah. This is why he doesn't sleep. This is why he's got problems.
Because 4 p.m, 7 hours after that
Midnight.
Is 11 p.m.
You said 8 hours, documented on camera.
Okay, 8 hours then. So let's just say between 6 and 8 hours it stays in your system for.
It's got a long half-life, hasn't it?
That's what it means, yeah. So half of the caffeine that you have will still be in your system 7-ish hours later. So if you're having some at 4 p.m, at 11 p.m, you've still got caffeine in your system, which is sometimes why you might be lying there thinking, I want to go sleep, I'm tired, but I can't. So for good sleep health and that, you just have to be careful.
Maybe ideally, just don't have it after lunchtime. Why do you need it after lunchtime?
Yeah, maybe have a cut-off point. But like what some people do is if they're going to the gym in the evening, they'll take a pre-workout or some caffeine or have some coffee. And then they might have more energy for the sessions, but then they get home at night and they're still buzzing and they can't sleep. And then that has a negative effect. If you get up, you're knackered because you couldn't get sleep till 2 in the morning, even though you wanted to. And then that rolling effect kind of, you have more caffeine the next day because you're tired. and then the cycle repeats. So it's just being very careful with that. If you are someone who...
And arguably, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, if you just have a good 8 hours sleep at night, like I do, I get to the gym at 6:30 at night and I feel all right.
Absolutely. So,
I feel okay.
yes,
I can do a session at
this is
6:30
what I'm
at
saying.
night
This is
after a
what
day
I'm
at
saying.
work.
But it's not always an ideal world. So
No, like we haven't got young children, have we? Like if you've
no,
got
or
young
you
kids
don't work
and
kind
you've
of maybe shift work or long
up
hours
in
or
the
whatever.
night or
So in some circumstances, caffeine will be helpful, but it's just being mindful of when to take it and how often to take it, and not become reliant on it. In an ideal world, you would have 8 hours sleep, make sure you're eating properly, and then you'll have enough energy to go to the gym and you haven't got to worry about it. So, yeah.
even I get tired of doing it.
The other thing is, if you are someone who does struggle with the sleep anyway, then I wouldn't really start playing around with caffeine, because that's going to really start making
I
things
work
worse.
with quite a lot of men.
I sleep pretty well, really, don't I?
And
But
they struggle with sleep and stuff.
yeah, so if you start adding caffeine into the mix, you're going to start affecting your sleep more, even if you do have some kind of rules and stuff. So yeah, or if you are someone who struggles with your sleep and you do have a lot of caffeine, i.e. teas, coffees, even stuff like that, maybe have a look at that and reducing them, taking them out to help improve your sleep health, which is the other side of the coin. So yeah, if you are someone who, that's one of the main things that you can do that can really help you sleep. Anything else about caffeine that you can think of?
I don't think so.
I think the main thing as well, like with caffeine, it helps increase your energy, and it is an appetite suppressant
Gives me
as
the
well.
jitters, doesn't it? Because I don't have it very often. Like if I sometimes have one of your monsters,
You feel off your tits, yeah.
or like one of the energy drinks, makes my fingers tingle.
So yeah, like
I
you
feel
can build
like edgy, like anxious. Like
Yeah.
I don't like it. It makes me feel funny.
Depending on your weight and stuff, how much you can take as well, but also your tolerance. It's a little bit like alcohol, really, in the sense that like the more often you have it, the more you have, the more you build up tolerance. But if you're not used to having it, the smaller you are, technically you don't need as much. I can't remember
I normally
the
have
figure
a
off
few
the top of
sips
my
of
head.
yours, don't I? If I ever
I
want
think
anything.
it's about 2 to 4 milligrams per kilogram of body weight is like the recommendations. I don't know if that's exact, but I think so.
2 milligrams per kilogram.
2 to 4.
So that'd be like 120 for me.
Yeah.
Is that a lot? How much in a monster?
Like a can of Monster is like 150, isn't it? So yeah.
That'd be about right for me, though, would it? But I get jittery.
Yes, but then one person might have that and feel jittery, and one person might not touch the side. It depends on.
I have a Costa coffee and I'm buzzing.
That's the strongest one, isn't it?
Dead strong.
Didn't you see that list where the
Yeah.
Costa is the most highest caffeine?
Was it
of
like a
all the-
latte from Costa? Was like
Starbucks and Cafe Nero.
yeah,
And,
really. It had like 200 milligrams of caffeine in it, something silly like that, didn't it?
in a large
In a
one.
no, just in a 2-shot. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter how large the milk is. Does
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's
In a 2
the amount of caffeine you put in it, but in a 2-shot, like a double shot, like ridiculous.
Our favourite's Cafe Nero, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm round here.
I don't mind a Starbucks. Probably Cafe Nero first, then Starbucks, and then I don't know. Costa would be probably.
I just don't.
It's very strong coffee taste. I don't actually like. We don't like the taste of coffee, do we?
And
So
then
we have
beans
syrups
are a
and
bit
stuff.
tart, aren't they? The Costa coffee
Yeah.
beans. They're a bit like it. It's not for me.
What do we have it from Cafe Nero? It's a speciality something.
A caramel
Caramel
speciality.
latte speciality or
something
something.
like that.
Pretty good.
Delicious.
If you like caramel, we like a bit of syrup in our coffees. Don't we?
Extortionately priced for a coffee, though, aren't they? Like a £5. You go in, get two
all
drinks
coffee
for
shops
£10.
are, aren't they? If you think of how much you're buying for.
Not good old Sam's down the road. Get 2 lattes for a £5, can't you?
Yeah, I suppose £2.50, £3 like a good price for a coffee nowadays, isn't it? Standard's like £4 or £5, isn't it?
And we pay.
Yeah, well, you do, don't you? All caffeine addicts, aren't we?
Yeah, I like coffee.
In fact, again, off the top of my head, I think caffeine is the most taken drug in the whole
yeah,
world.
I agree with
Obviously,
that.
it's a
I've
legal
read
drug,
that somewhere.
but I think it is. So yeah, we're all caffeine addicts.
You are.
Yeah, I've got to have one pleasure in life. I know, bloody hell.
Rude.
So yeah, I think that's caffeine covered, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we're done. Right, protein.
Protein. So protein is not necessarily. I wouldn't call it a supplement because it's just Protein is just a waste product from cheese, and it's used to increase your protein intake within your diet. So you can get it obviously in the form of powders, protein shakes, protein bars and stuff now. But mainly talking about the powders is like the supplement kind of version, even though I wouldn't call it a supplement myself. Do you need it? So my clients, for example, at the moment, everyone who's on the challenge, the advice is always this: if you are getting enough protein from your diet, then no, you don't need it. If you are really struggling to hit, because most of my clients, what they will do is aim for a certain protein target, 1.5 gram for every kilogram of body weight is what we aim for. So yeah, if you are someone who eats a lot of protein within their diet, so like meat, dairy, what else?
Beans,
lentils, those kind of things. You're getting a good amount of protein, then you probably won't need to supplement it. In most cases, I would say vegetarians, vegans, pescatarians as well. Those are the people that tend to struggle to get the protein in.
So maybe protein in fish.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like when someone's got like a quite varied diet of like meat and fish, you tend to get a lot more protein regularly through the meals. Especially if you're like vegan, then your choices are limited, so you're probably going to benefit from having a vegan protein shake or something like that, just to help get your protein in. We did actually watch that documentary the other day, didn't we? We won't go into it now, but we might maybe do an episode about it. The latest Netflix documentary.
Like your knockoff version.
Yeah, again, a little bit about kind of veganism and omnivore and what's kind of healthier.
Well, it was a little bit of
clickbaity. Yeah, study-ish. Documentary for entertainment, but yeah, they do refer to some studies. Anyway, we won't go into that.
No, it was a study on twins.
Yeah, but it was a study on a program. It's not a reliable study on 6 people.
It wasn't 6 people. They had loads of them in that room at the end, but they focused it on 6 people.
Yeah. But again, I just think there's so many variables.
If you watch it with an open mind, like me, you're all right. I quite enjoyed it.
I had a little bit of a vegan bias though, didn't it?
You've bitten the fishing rod, haven't you, and just been dragged in?
No, I'm always dubious against documentaries that are advertised as like.
Well, it was a study, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a lie.
No, it was interesting to watch. I kind of enjoyed it, but I'm always dubious because it's not always true on what they're saying. It's for entertainment, so everything's exaggerated a little bit for you to enjoy it. Because most research, to be honest, is quite boring. So they have to make it a bit more interesting and really exaggerates things that they say and stuff just to make it more interesting. Anyway, protein. Is it a good idea? Yes. It's very cheap, and you will find one that you like. If you like milkshakes, you will find a protein shake that you like. Obviously, there's loads of flavours and choices and brands out there. Just find one that you like, and there's my advice that has got at least 20 grams of protein in per scoop. That's how you know you're getting a good amount of protein. Bang for your buck. So, yeah. Is it a good idea? Yes, if you're not getting enough protein from your diet. Is it affordable? Yes. So, get a yes from me, but if you're getting protein from your diet...
We eat quite a bit of protein anyway, don't we? Really, just generally in our meals.
Yeah, but it's also a convenient thing to have, like, if you are... at an office job or whatever, just having a protein shake as your snack in between meals. You haven't got to do any preparation other than put some milk in and shake it up. So
I don't even know what this is. Beta-alanine.
Oh, we talked about that, didn't we? The beta-alanine was like the tingly thing, so we've covered that one.
Oh yeah. Creatine.
Most of you might have heard of this, maybe not. One of the probably mostly researched supplements out there. So if you are someone, it's mainly a sports supplement, but just recently it's got a lot of research around kind of brain function, memory, and things like that. So a lot more neurological kind of benefits.
One of my friends who's got Crohn's was talking about taking it the other day. She started taking it.
So the main benefit of creatine is that it basically replaces creatine phosphate is something that we kind of get from food, and it helps kind of the energy process. I'm not going to go too boring and scientific with this. Helps the energy process. When we supplement it, it can help you perform slightly better in your sessions by giving you a little bit more energy, so you might get more few reps out of your set. It's mainly been supplemented for things like weightlifting, sprinting, anything that's kind of like short bursts of activity. Creatine can benefit because that's kind of the energy system that it's kind of supplementing. But again, like I've just said, a lot of the benefits through research now are coming through, like it actually helps brain function, memory, all those kind of things as well. So we're getting people that are supplementing creatine who don't even train in a gym because of the brain benefits. So things like elderly populations, older people who are trying to kind of look after the brain health. So yeah, you can go into looking at all the research on that. There is some really good research as well. So is creatine a good idea? Yes. For most people, it's going to be a good idea.
Gave me a bad stomach though, didn't it?
Yeah, so this is one thing. You can take it in powder, or they do like tablets as well. It's very affordable. It's probably one of the cheapest supplements, like sports supplements out there. That is kind of the thing. The main one is creatine monohydrate. I would suggest taking that one because it's the cheapest and most really researched one. So creatine monohydrate, try that one first. It can cause you issues with your tummy. Not everybody, but some people get issues with the tummy with it. Amount to take per day, I would say 5 grams per day. And just that every day. I wouldn't overcomplicate it more than that. You can do things like loading and stuff, but 5 grams per day, whether you get that from a tablet or a scoop.
There'll be nothing left of me.
You can put a scoop in your food, or you can mix it in with like a protein shake if you are having one of those.
I used to have it in the morning with my vitamins, and it was all right in the morning. And then when I ate my lunch, my stomach would start churning.
Yeah, it can give you the shits pretty bad. It has me before when I've not taken it and then not taken it for a while and then had it. Again, if you're persistent with it, and you can build up tolerance to it, and you'll be all right. But for some people, they don't. So there's other ones that you can try. So if creatine monohydrate is giving you stomach problems, then you can look into the other types of creatine that might be a bit more gentle on the tummy and not give you the shits. But yeah, is it a good idea? Yeah. Is it affordable? Yeah.
As long as you don't get bad stomach.
And then, like I've just said, all the other benefits of brain function and that kind of thing now is even more reason to kind of have it.
Magnesium, my mum always goes on about.
Yeah.
Magnesium.
So magnesium is there's quite a lot of benefits because it does a lot of things in your body. The main ones that kind of talked about is like sleep and stress, and helps reduce anxiety and those kind of things. But again, you can get magnesium from food, so things like lentils, beans, fish. Some types of fish have got magnesium in as well. So if you're getting enough magnesium from your diet,
got magnesium in.
I think it has.
There's a big hoo-ha about people who eat tuna every day having really high levels.
Yeah, that is a thing.
I read it.
So yeah, again, with something like magnesium, I wouldn't just suggest kind of just supplementing it if you've got a quite balanced, varied diet, because the fact is you might be getting enough from your food. So this is why, yeah, if you eat a lot of tuna, for example, or whatever, beans, lentils, those kind of things, some vegetables have got magnesium in, so you could be getting a good amount. So the problem is with certain supplements, especially vitamins and minerals, we just blindly kind of start having them without knowing that we need them, because we might be getting them from his diet and we might not be deficient. That's why, like I said at the beginning, it's a good idea to go and get a blood test. Especially
Where'd you get that from, though? Because if I just walked in the doctors and said I want a blood test, they'll go, no, what's wrong with you?
Well, no, usually you would go for a blood test. You can get them online where you would pay for them and you wouldn't need to go to the doctors. And you can get like a test for all your blood levels and everything and see if you are deficient in anything. But like more so you would go to the doctors if you're experiencing symptoms, so like fatigue, you're not sleeping well, those kind of things. That's why most of the time the doctors, the first thing they'll do is give you a blood test and go, okay, you've got an iron deficiency or a magnesium deficiency or a vitamin D deficiency. And then they'll go, okay, this is what we'll do, and this is we know what's kind of causing the symptoms now. But if you're not getting any symptoms and you just want to see if you are deficient in anything, then there is online things that you can buy and send a blood test out and whatever. So I would always suggest doing that rather than just blindly taking, especially vitamins and stuff like that, because one, you might be wasting your money because you don't need them and you're getting them from your diet, and two, you don't really know, especially if you're not experiencing any of the symptoms and stuff.
But is it harmful if you take them anyway?
For most vitamins and minerals, no, because like unless you're having massively high amounts and you're already got a good amount anyway, then it's going to start causing problems. But like if you're just having a supplement of something, you might get some small side effects. And some vitamins, obviously, you'll just kind of wee out as well. Not all of them. But yeah. It's not a good idea to just blindly start taking them if you don't think or know that you've got a deficiency.
Why not? Do you know if you've got a deficiency?
No, but like the other ones, for example, like omega-3, I'm taking that because I know I don't have oily fish, so I know I'm not getting that from my diet. So unless you've got a really good understanding of going, okay, let's look at magnesium and look at everything I'm eating, measure out how much magnesium I'm getting from my food a week. You could do that, or you could just have a blood test and see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like I'm just people out here going like, well, I take multivitamins. Should I not do that without getting a blood test?
Yeah, we haven't covered multivitamin yet, have we? So multivitamin is like multivitamin is what it says on the tin. It's a little bit of every single vitamin. So is it a good idea? Yes. Especially if you're not someone who eats a lot of fruit and veg, then probably yes.
But you do eat a lot of fruit and veg and you take a multivitamin.
Yeah, I suppose that's just because it's going to do no harm having a multivitamin. But I'm talking in terms of like specifically taking high amounts of a specific vitamin like magnesium or iron or those kind of things without knowing that you've got any kind of deficiency or without being advised to by a doctor or whatever. Then it can cause side effects, but because you're having too much of that thing that you don't need. So that's kind of the risk.
So everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation, but yeah, that doesn't mean go out and buy all the vitamins off the shelf and just have one of each.
That's what you do.
It isn't.
Do you want me to check our cupboard?
No, it isn't. I have ones that are kind of we talked about today.
Yeah.
So yeah, a multivitamin is probably one that maybe I don't need, maybe I do. I just have that as like
because it's always ill. Just trying.
No, it's not. No, it's not that. It's just something that I've always done, I suppose. But like the ones that I've had is the ones that we spoke about today. That I know I'm not getting from my diet. So vitamin D, the main ones, omega-3.
What's your joint one?
So I have turmeric at the moment. That's kind of, again, that's not specifically for kind of fat loss and stuff, but there's a little bit of research on reducing inflammation. So I had that since I had my knee injury.
We've got a cupboard full, haven't we?
Yeah. Again, we just kind of keep it specific to like stuff that's going to help people's health and fat loss. Because again, there's a massive list of supplements that we could talk about, but all of them are for one, for different reasons, and two, like it depends on the person and the circumstance and the situation, and what are you taking them for? Like, why are you taking them? Is the question.
Yes, alright. I was just making sure you weren't being a hypocrite.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm trying not to be.
Multivitamins, you've kind of.
Yeah. So we didn't kind of sum up magnesium, did we? So something like that, again, I would probably have a test for rather than just kind of blindly taking it, unless you definitely know you're not getting it from your diet. And that would take you making a food diary and looking at how much you're getting from your diet, which most people aren't going to go to that effort. It's easier to get a test. So yeah. Multivitamins just kind of cover it. Is it a good idea? Yes, for most of you, especially if you don't eat a lot of fruit and veg as well. But it's basically a very small amount of most of the vitamins.
You know what isn't on here? Vitamin C. And you take vitamin C every day.
Yeah, I forgot that one, to be fair. So vitamin C, again, if you're not someone who has a lot of fruit or you don't get it from your food, I do. You can have a high amount of vitamin C anyway.
Did you just wee that one out?
Vitamin C is one that you wee out, so you can't really overdose on vitamin C. So we just have like a capsule, don't we? So like a Barocca thing in the morning. Yeah. Like there's the Barocca's a branded version of it, but
Aldi version, a fifth of the price.
Yeah, so that can help with like immunity and things like that as well. So you can have quite high amounts, but any that you don't absorb, you'll just wee out anyway.
Did you know, fun fact, there's more vitamin C in a bell pepper than there is in an orange.
And a kiwi as well.
And a kiwi.
More in a kiwi than an orange.
But pepper.
Because everyone thinks orange when you think vitamin C, don't
Yeah,
you?
a pepper. And the green ones have got even more than the red ones.
There you go.
So yeah, there you go, fun fact.
Any more?
Green powders, like I said to you before, I didn't even know what you're on about. What
So
is this?
green powders is just kind of, if you're not, so they've got different names, but it's basically a green powder, or you can have tablets. It's basically all the vitamins that you'll get in green vegetables, but you can have them in like a powdered drink.
So if you're veg dodger.
If you're a salad dodger or veg dodger, then this might be a good idea, because we're pretty good with fruit and veg, aren't we? We try.
Yeah.
Especially like more specifically green veg, so you things like, I don't know, broccoli, cabbage, green beans.
We're having all them later,
kale,
aren't we?
all those kind of
I don't
things.
like kale.
So obviously green veg, you get a lot of vitamins in those. You've probably heard that before. If you're not eating those and you're a veg dodger and you really don't want to eat them because you hate them, then maybe supplementing something like that to get those vitamins in another way. So you can have them in a diet. To be honest, they're not great tasting. I've had some before. They're not always amazing. But it's just making sure you're getting them vitamins in, because you're not getting them through your diet.
Last one then. How do you think people should take it, yes or no?
I feel like it kind of sums it up. If you're not someone who eats green veg, then maybe, look into it.
Are they cheap?
No, not massively cheap. So not compared to some of the others we spoke about. So
not as cheap as
going and buying some
broccoli,
veg
yeah,
and eating it,
and a cabbage for 60p.
That's kind of the sacrifice you're making for being a veg dodger. So
there you go. Last one then, iron. When I was pregnant, I was iron deficient.
Yeah, so there are some circumstances, again, you'll be recommended by a doctor. I think they said to me, because I've got my knee operation next month, I've got to start supplementing iron in the weeks before that.
Lose blood.
The main thing is, it increases the oxygen transportation in your blood.
Tastes horribly, doesn't it? I don't know if have you ever supplemented it? Leaves like a...
Yeah, it can make you quite constipated as well. If you have too
I don't
much.
have that problem.
Yeah.
But like a metallic taste in your mouth. And
it
repeats.
It's iron.
It repeats on you a lot.
Yeah.
Like when you...
Again, so with iron, in those kind of exceptional circumstances, maybe pregnancy, operations, you'll be told by a doctor to increase them. In most cases, I would say, if you have got, I've got clients, I think, has Callie got an iron deficiency, I think, or...
Yeah.
I've got a few clients who've had iron deficiencies or have, and to be honest, you'll probably know if you have.
Infusions, don't they?
Because you feel pretty shit if you've got an iron deficiency and you need infusions or to supplement it. But yeah, if you're maybe experiencing the side effects, which again are very similar, fatigue, tiredness, sleeping a lot, weakness, out of breath maybe, which is kind of fatigue anyway. But yeah, speak to a doctor and see if you are deficient in that before, again, blindly just taking iron supplements outside of the exceptional circumstances like pregnancy.
What do you get iron in there, like broccoli?
Yeah, you can get it from your food. So some vegetables, but mainly like red meats.
Broccoli.
Mainly like red
I know
meats
it's
and
broccoli
stuff.
because when we were talking to the football coach in the sauna, he told me that they get the kids to eat broccoli because they're iron. So.
Yeah, but I imagine the high amounts of iron come from like things like red meat as well.
Yeah, but you get it in.
You will get
like
some
broccoli.
from vegetables as well. Yeah. But yeah, so again, if you are eating those things, you're probably getting sufficient iron within your diet, so you don't really need to look at supplementing it. Any others that we missed? Any more?
No.
I think that's covered them pretty well. I mean, that's a lot we've gone through there today, and that's probably, if you're listening to this, probably a lot of information. But I thought I just wanted to give everyone like a baseline of the main ones that are talked about and giving you a good idea whether you should go out there buying them. But like I said earlier, if you're not getting the basics right, none of this is kind of that helpful anyway. We've got to be doing the things like eating properly, getting more fruit and veg in if you can. Make sure you're controlling your calories if your goal is fat loss, being more active, getting more exercise in, and staying more hydrated. If you do those things right first, you'll probably start feeling better anyway.
Yeah.
And then
We've
you can
started
maybe
doing
look
that
at
because
supplements.
after Christmas and holiday, you feel a bit rubbish.
Yeah, well, you've just got a bit sick of like getting into bad habits. Like, as it goes, we've got pretty okay habits, especially with eating and stuff. But even us, we're just getting out of the routine of like, I was just eating like snacking every night in terms of like just eating like a chocolate bar every night just because that's what we're doing over
I'm
Christmas.
not talking like your 6-chunk chocolate bar.
No, like
I'm
a full
talking
size
like
chocolate bar. Just getting into a habit of just doing that, and I was like, I'm not even really.
We get to the point where I'd be like, oh, he's got the chocolate out. Be watching a film, I'd turn around go for one piece, it'd be gone.
Yeah, it'd just be like
do the whole thing.
inhale it kind of thing, and it was just like got to the point where I was just like, I'm not that we don't eat chocolate anymore, but it was just like we were doing a bit too much of those habits.
I did see a chocolate bar in the bin last night.
Yeah, I had a little bit of something. Like I don't just cut chocolate out, do we? But it was a bit too much. It was making us feel a little bit. And maybe all the overeating and drinking on top of that over Christmas as well.
We weren't very well either, were we?
No, we've not been very well this week.
We got the Benidorm flu, but we weren't even.
So we've gone right.
Hard.
We're going to start eating properly now, getting loads of veg in and that, fruit and veg.
A lot of lobby, haven't we?
I do feel those better.
Chili. I put loads of veg in my chili. Lobby.
Just having a bit of a dodgy stomach as well. I think when you're not eating properly as well.
Didn't we?
I find.
Just trying to think of ways to get veg in that don't taste like veg.
Yeah.
Like lobby. Chili.
Lobbies, chilies, any
spag ball. I grate my carrot in and you can't taste it.
Yeah, any kind of thing saucy with like sauces. Anything that's saucy, you can bang some.
So saucy.
Bang some veg.
Cottage pie.
Yeah, cottage pie, which we're having tonight.
Some cheese on top, delicious. All those like meals are really good for a bit of veg, aren't they? Without knowing that you're having veg almost, you can't taste it.
Yeah.
It tastes like gravy or tomatoes.
Anything that you can kind of thicken up and just the secret with veg, especially if you don't like veg, is like trying to get it in stuff where you can't taste it.
I really don't like veg.
I don't mind some veg, some I don't like, but don't mind some.
It tastes a bit earthy, doesn't it? That's why I don't.
Depends on what you have done it.
Tastes like the ground.
But yeah, I think hopefully that's kind of summed up the subject of most of the supplements out there to give you a good guide. You can always message me if you're unsure and you want to know any more about this kind of stuff. We've just kind of done basic overlay of the supplements. We can't go into massive detail because it's going to be a 5-hour podcast, but
falling down.
So yeah.
Well, yeah.
I would say essential for everybody is vitamin D. Outside of that, all the ones that we discussed, it depends on your circumstances. I think that's a good kind of summary to end. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that podcast. Let us know by either messaging us or screenshot this, put it on your story. And you will be seeing us a lot more this year because I've planned out some more good episodes.
Because he's finally paying me.
No. Paying in kindness, maybe.
Yeah.
So yeah, more episodes coming. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.